Hey guys, welcome back to the podcast, A Story with Rory. I am your host. This is our third episode, and we have a very special guest tonight. His name is Chris joining us. Hey Chris, how's it going?
Pretty good.
Go ahead and start from the beginning and tell us what story you have, and we'd all love to hear it.
Uh, my story tonight is kind of what I consider to be like an alien story. It's something that um, I've seen an unexplained, very noticeable light, and I'll tell about it because it changed as I seen it. So I was about 16 years old. I lived with my grandparents in Ralston during my high school years, and I at 16 I got a paper route for the Tulsa World, and so my n- morning started every day at 2 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
And my grandfather, he would ride with me, you know what I'm saying, and give me company or whatever, and help me roll the papers or whatever. And of course, they did the financial part, because I was just a kid. But we were real used to everything that happened. We were real routine. We'd been doing this long enough that, hey, it was just every day, and we already had throwed all the papers in Ralston. We throwed all the papers in Fairfax, and we were headed back home just to go to bed. I mean, it was kind of springtime. I don't think I was in school. I think we'd already got out for summer break. And during this time, we were real used to seeing all over the place. We seen grass fires. You just seen the glow, and you knew what it was because you seen it a lot. And my grandfather was back in the day. I mean, like in the 30s or whatever. He was a volunteer fireman. So again, it was something that we talked about, commenting. He told me stories about that.
Hmm.
And on our way back, we had seen a glow in Ralston that looked like the whole entire uptown area was
Huh.
on fire.
Right.
And our house was uptown. It was right there, like two lots down from the post office. I mean, right uptown. So we were scared at this point. I mean, we were scared that my grandmother was close enough to the fire that she could get hurt. I mean, we were that scared, and you could see the look in both of our eyes. I mean, he's riding right beside me in the car. We're like, what, And we had seen over the years a couple of house fires in town. So again, it was something that made us very alarmed. So I kind of pep it up. I hurry. I try to go ahead and I mean, I'm only like maybe 2 miles from town anyway, but I hurry up and try to get on into town. And the weirdest thing happened that as we got into town, what seemed like it was uptown now seemed like it was on the west side of town, like a house fire on the west side of town. And we was for sure, I mean, so sure that this fire was big enough glow. It wasn't your normal lights, your normal street lights and stuff cause a glow, but this
Right.
was way bigger. I mean, like big enough we thought the whole uptown was on fire.
Yeah, huge.
So we went ahead and followed it on to the west side of town. Well, now we're on the west side of town and it looks like it's outside of town.
Hmm.
It's like it's moving.
Yeah, like you're chasing it, kind of.
And I'm like, me and my grandpa are looking at each other like, what is going on?
Hmm.
But we also noticed that as we got outside of town, we're getting away from the lights, that now it's changing shape. And it's no longer just a glow that, is like mass. Now it's like almost like if you can imagine a laser beam going
Huh.
straight from the sky to the ground. And it's not like a thin laser beam. I'm talking
Right.
like maybe like wide as a highway,
Right.
and it is concentrated. And it's like it sees me because the more I chase it, the faster it goes, and it's eluding me.
Right.
And there's this one part on Highway 18 as you head out of Ralston. I don't know if it's 2 or 3 miles, but then it automatically the road just curves back south. Well, the county road keeps going straight, and out in that area, it's called the Big Bend, and there's a lot of farmland. A lot of people live out there and stuff.
Hmm.
And I drove to that point. I mean, like 3 or 4 miles outside of town,
Right.
and this light is leaving me. But I'm sitting there looking at my grandpa, and I'm like, have you ever? Because he has seen a lot of things, and he's like 85 years old. He's seen a lot of, and another thing to note, my grandfather was really big into like storms and watching the weather and all these, and he actually was a weatherman for 50 years that he recorded every day. He had one of those weather stations out in his yard where he recorded the high and the low and the if it rained, he recorded all that. So
Right.
again, this was somebody that was really into things in the sky, watching the weather. I mean, any kind of a phenomenon like this, you think that what it was at nature, something normal, he would have noticed it. He would have been like, "Oh yeah, that's a falling star or shooting." You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, he
But,
was aware of it.
yeah, but he was like, "I've never seen anything like this in my life," and I'm
Hmm.
looking at it going, "What is this?" What I mean, and we were both freaked out by it because you could tell it was not normal, and I've
Was it
never seen anything like that since.
was it like a certain color or just like it looked like a fire flame color
At
or
first, it did. At first, it really, really, really was the fire flame color, but
Mhm.
I can't remember because it's been so long ago if it actually changed color when it became the laser looking light. But again, it when it started taking off, I mean, it started taking off, and there was no way I could have caught it. I mean, and I was trucking it pretty good. I mean, maybe going about 75, trying to get up to it. 'Cause we're all like looking, like, what is that, man? That's something weird. And we couldn't see the source of it. It like disappeared out of the clouds or something.
weird?
Yeah, it was very, very strange. Again, how I could be uptown in one area, looking like the whole uptown is on fire, but by the time you get outside of town, it gets to be concentrated like almost like laser, but a big one, a big one. I mean, like I said, about as wide as the highway, and start running off and leaving us.
Right. I mean, a lot of people would probably assume that more than likely be like a forest fire or something close to it, being that color. But as soon as you get closer to it, yeah, you notice that it changes direction, changes, location, all that. And you're just like, what? Hold on a second. This isn't a stationary event. This is like something that's moving that's causing this light. And that's what trips your gourd and you can't think. You're like, what am I looking at? You can't process it.
That's why I felt like, you know, it was like alien in nature. Like it was
Right.
it a chip shooting some kind of a laser down at first, making it seem like it looked like a fire, a big fire. And
Hmm.
then as it headed on out, it, can change, or whatever, and why would it be shooting like there's a lot of question there. What is this and what was it doing,
Right. Yeah, that's I mean, that's eerie, You think it's a fire and you get up there and it's just not what you think. It's something completely different. So it's kind of like into the I guess you'd call it unknown category at that point. And who else were you with? You said you were with was it your grandparent?
Well, it was my grandfather. And again, he was 85 at the time, but he was not um any kind of delusional, what do you call it when they
Like
start look.
dementia or anything?
Yeah, he was clear as a bell. I mean, just
Right.
really with it. We were not so sleepy that we were like, what's going on, and all of a sudden we thought we seen something, but we didn't, because those things kind of happen here or there where it's like, what was that? I don't know, but it
Right.
wasn't nothing like that. When we seen the what we thought was the town on fire, we snapped too. I mean, we were like,
Right.
like, whoa, what, we adrenaline flowing, scared. It was
Hmm.
that big a deal that I hurried up and got on it enough that I was probably going 65. I probably bumped it up to more like 75. Like we were in a hurry because literally come out of our mouth, oh my goodness, grandma, we thought she was in trouble uptown.
Right. Right.
And so it kind of fully convinced us that something was going on.
Did you guys see anyone else that saw this too, or was it just you guys?
That's the only one. And I had asked other people at the time, kind of fishing around, did they see it or had they ever heard or seen anything? Never heard. I've never heard or seen anybody else that has ever seen anything like that.
Wow, that's crazy. Uh, I mean, usually on stuff like that, you'll see some people on the side of the road that also, either have their phone out or they're just up there staring at it. But yeah, that's just crazy that there wasn't anyone else that you guys thought it was a fire. Especially he was a firefighter, right? A volunteer firefighter, so he had that instinct to go ahead and get to where he thought there was an emergency. And you get there and it's completely something different. So yeah, it's a crazy story, especially the beam, like the whatever the beam of light that was coming straight down, and it wasn't just like a glowing area. It was like a focalized, light source that, I mean, if you've ever seen a light source just sticking straight up to the ground or out of the ground, whatever, I mean, that'd be enough for most people to kind of go check it out, and see what it is. But yeah,
Well, it was undeniable when we were chasing it. That again, I envisioned it going from the sky to the ground because I couldn't see the source and I couldn't see the end of it. I just seen a beam of light, and I could just tell, not like I could see it moving, but I could
Mhm.
just tell that as we drove that way, it was leaving. It run off and left us. It got so fast that it was just, yeah. By the time we lost it, I mean, it was like way away from us.
It wasn't like possibly like a plane with a spotlight, nothing like that, like a
No,
helicopter.
again, it couldn't have caused what would have seemed like a fire, and again, it was a big fire. It looked like the whole uptown was on fire. If you can imagine, like, multiple buildings. You know what I'm saying? Not just a residence, not just, which is that would cause a big glow, but
Right.
it was a big enough glow that we thought the whole uptown was on fire. And
Dang.
then again, by the time we get outside of town, uh, you never think of a plane just, and it was a straight up and down light. It never moved side to side. It never, like, it was looking around, like a spotlight. It was just perfectly straight up and down. It
Dang.
never changed that direction whatsoever.
Like super crisp.
Yes, very definite, like almost. I mean, it was almost sci-fi. I mean, it in nature, if you can imagine that.
I don't know if you've ever seen the movie A Fire in the Sky. It was, I want to say it was milled. I want to say it was made back in like the 1980s, like late 70s, early 80s, something like that. And it was about um, these guys, these like college age, well, a little older than college age guys were driving around in this pickup truck. And true story, um, they see this kind of like what you're describing, like a glowing, just follow it, and they're trying to, like kind of like chase it down. And I guess one of the guys finally sees it exactly where it is, and they drive over to it, and he ends up getting like quote unquote abducted, from this light or whatever. But yeah, it's a story, and it's also like a book, and it's also a movie. You should check it out sometime. But it's almost kind of like that same. It started out that same way, that same um, initial saw the bright light, they chased it, and then that happened. But yeah, that's a crazy story. And how old were you again? You said
I had to have been. I said 16 at first, but I think maybe more like 17 because, again, it was a time that I was really, really used to, throwing the paper out, and we were used to seeing the fires, and, I'm talking about like the grass fires and stuff. So it was something that we were used to, but not in Ralston, not in our hometown. You know what I'm saying? Just around town, out, just in the country. Sometimes you would actually see the flames, because it's all dark, black out there, and sometimes the glow, the flames will be big enough. Hey, oh, there's the fire, would point it out. You know what I'm saying? It was a lot of
mm,
things we talked about, but that's one thing I had thought of when I seen the beam. Is I in my mind, I kind of thought of a alien beaming something up like a cow or something. You hear that,
yeah,
same kind of thing on movies.
it
So it's
happens.
funny
It
that you're
happens a lot
saying
of
that
times.
movie. That's what happened. They've got beamed up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, there's cases on cases of reported, cow mutilations and all sorts of stuff. I mean, look at Skinwalker Ranch. Um, Nevada, I want to say it is. I'm not sure what state it is, but it's either Nevada or California. But yeah, I mean, there's mutilations on livestock all the time, all over the country, and so it just makes you wonder if you see a light like that, is something going to get sucked up in it? Is something going to come down from it? Like you just don't know.
Well, is that, maybe is that what causes those crop circles, all those, real intricate, designs in the hay fields and stuff? Is it a laser like that? I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, from back in the 70s or even before then, they were noticing these crop circles, and I'm like, that technology to make those was just not prevalent back then. Like, there was no way that could have been man made. I don't think. But yeah, they were too symmetrical. Like, I don't know what the word is. Like, just precise.
Yeah, very intricate. Yeah,
Yeah, and I just don't
detailed,
know.
lots of detail.
Yeah, I just don't know what else could make something of that nature, other than something that's not of this world. Because it's like they were huge. They weren't just like a 30 by 30-foot circle. Some of these circles are hundreds or thousands of feet,
Yes.
complete diameter. And it's just like, I don't know, but I mean, it kind of leaves you to wonder, and it leaves you to kind of want to figure it out. Also, what could that be? And it kind of leaves that mystery in there for you. So, yeah, I mean, that's a great story, Chris. I really like, hearing stuff like that, like UFOs. Like me and my wife, we had a similar deal, but it wasn't a glowing deal. We saw it during the daytime, and it was just like, if you can imagine something being stuck in the sky, that was it. Like stuck and wasn't moving. We were driving 75 miles an hour on the turnpike, and tell you what, there's just nothing more weird than seeing something just stuck in the air. That shouldn't be there. Something with no props, no propellers, nothing. Like nothing, no way to keep it up in the air, but it's just there. Call it a glitch, call it whatever you want, but that's just is weird. So, but yeah, I appreciate your story, and I'm glad to have you on today, and looking forward to have you back on someday. So
Yes, sir.
I
Definitely.
appreciate it. All right,
You're very
guys.
welcome.
Thanks for watching A Story with Rory and enjoying this podcast. Appreciate it. Until then, we're out. See you, Chris.